Hey everyone, Sticker here, and welcome to the growing town of Dalefield. In the last episode, we added in this train line through part of the city. I was going to say the heart of the city, but it's not really anywhere too important at this stage since the commercial is isolated to the one main road. We also did a little bit of suburban expansion, but for the past couple of episodes, we've been a bit all over the place. I think episode 1 was mainly focused around this area. And then the last 2 episodes, it's kind of like a bit here and a bit there, and it's a bit all over the place. So I want to gain a bit more focus with this episode. And so I imagine roughly this sort of block here is the center of the city, if you will. So on that basis, we should probably be expanding out in this direction a little bit more. So we're going to go ahead and do that today. It's probably also going to have a Riverside commercial strip somewhere along this road as we expand out, and I imagine this would be one of the main arterial roads, hence why it's been made 4 lanes instead of 2. Plus, one of my other plans is with these 4-lane roads that have trams running down them at one stage, which actually gives a little bit of justification as to why the roads are so large. So let's go ahead and I'll start doing the road layouts. So for the time being, I just decided to opt for a simple grid layout. In the future, I'll change to more of a suburban style road network with all these branching cul-de-sacs and things that don't connect up to anything. But for the moment, I think the grid will serve us well and also reflects the core of some American cities that aren't really too constrained by topography, in that as the grid system is pretty easy to expand out. But I think if we're going to continue expanding in this direction, we probably need to purchase some more of these tiles here. We'll go right out to here. I probably won't get that far in today's episode, as it's actually quite a big area now that I've just bought, but if we do get out there, then I've got the space for it. So we've got this. I'm not sure how I'm going to zone up here because I wanted things in one sense going right up against the coastline, but in another sense I just wanted there to be one side of the main road is just left for like parks and open space. I'm wondering if I do this with this gravel road, and then I'll see what we can put on here in terms of parks and things. I also noticed with the topography up the river there, it's like on a lot of cliffs, but thankfully this area seems to be a lot closer to the actual river, so it's like a proper riverbank. Although it still actually slopes away quite substantially, but just not as much. Anyway, I think that is an appropriate distance, that block there, to have the neighborhood center, so we'll go in and zone this up. I don't know how this is going to work out given that there's zoning from like all the sides, but we'll see how it goes. And I might also add just on this corner here, I'll go like that. Still doing my brain in that the zoning depths are 6x6 rather than 4x4 being the biggest lot. I also noticed though that when you go this deep, sometimes it's a bit overkill for some things. So I might actually do only 4 deep into the side roads, and then I might go houses that are 3 tiles wide rather than 2. I know in the past episode or 2 I've been doing mainly houses that are like a small 2x6 rather than 3x6, but it's just a preference. Then that, and that, and then these ones can face the main road, which it seems to have done. So I'll go through and do the rest of these now. And so I've zoned up this area and things are mostly good, except what I was hoping wouldn't happen did happen, and that's that the slopes here for these houses are steep enough that they're forming the cliff texture to show through. I was kind of hoping that they'd be quite low to the river, but it's not really, hence it's kind of repeating this to some degree, although these ones are quite extreme, but I'm just going to have to live with it because I can't be bothered terraforming a whole lot of the city just for one thing. I mean, this is the base vanilla game and the maps are a little bit too hilly even for what appears to be a flat map. And we also might come through and add in a park on this corner if we can. I think there is like a small playground or something that would fit in this spot. That dog park's too big. I feel like there was another small-ish park somewhere. It must just be this playground. And then I want to go through and add some trees, not only in here, but in all of the other areas that we haven't detailed up yet in the city, because there's quite a lot of gaps in the zoning where I've left it because the terrain was too steep or something and haven't built there. So I'll go through and off-camera add trees to those blocks. But for right now, I do want to detail up this block here since it's in the main focus of this project. It's still really hard to tell these trees. I do wish for a mod. There might already be one out there. So we've almost added all these trees in now. And then we can just wait for like an eternity for these to grow into proper full-fledged trees. Anyway, we might add some in this area as well. Anyways, now we've broken the main grid, but I thought what I'd do is add a park in this area here. So if we expand out this main 4-lane road a little bit, then we can fit in a park in the space in between this and the angled road. Also, that new road is kind of destroying the grid system that I have set up here. I'm also just thinking how I'm going to expand out in between here as well, because I'll need to think about the grid spacing. I might go for houses that are only 4 deep, so that's quite dense in comparison to what we've been doing up until now. I might turn this snapping off just so I get the right angle. That's our first road, and of course the zoning is all messed up. So if we do that again, if we do this, then that's at a 90-degree angle. So if we take that out there, I want to have this curved, but it seems like the intersection point's going to be far too close to this road here that it doesn't make sense at this point. So I might do this one out into here, and then maybe with the next road try to see how that intersects. So if we go 1, 2, 3 back, then if we do this curve, how does that look? 25 and 24, that's about as good as we can get it. This is something that I can work with and create this interesting mix of blocks, because it's going to get quite a bit narrower as you get close to the road here. So if we go same thing again, and I think about there, and if we come through now and do that, I can't tell, but it looks about right, so run with that. So this is an interesting road layout. It looks a bit messy, but that is kind of what I was hoping for with this one, just to kind of vary things up a little bit. And then when we carry this through here, it's going to do something. So 352. I'm trying to decide whether I want to block that long or not. Might continue along with this road here for the moment. And then afterwards, I'll delete some of those roads in the area where I wanted to put a park. So if we do this and delete 1 and 2, then this area can be a park. And looks like the angle's actually quite steep of where the roads would want to turn with this layout. So we'll have to see how it keeps going if I run it along a little bit further. But for now, I might unlock the larger parks since we have plenty of development points. kind of holding off on unlocking anything until I really need to in terms of ideas and the like, because that just gives me a little bit more flexibility as to what I can build. So the large city park that can sit there is the base. The large plaza will fit in here somewhere too, maybe there. Large playground can go up in that corner, put a small playground behind it, and then I might unlock the sports parks and see if I can fit anything in there as well. Can't be bothered with those tourist attractions right now, but hopefully there is something I can fit in. So that would get me 2 tennis courts. The outdoor gym would fit basically anywhere. Skate park again, fit not anywhere, but flexible enough. Actually, that might work. Community pool, and then tennis. Okay, I might get rid of the pool because I was thinking of the tennis first. That's my justification for this. And then put the skate park there and make this nice with some trees. And I'll use this brush tool just to fill things up quickly. See if I can fit any of these oak trees in now. Be interesting to see how this grows out to look, because I don't think it's going to look all that great given the sort of chaotic way I went about placing all these down. But we'll have to wait and see. And now time to finish off this grid layout. So go to here. Won't connect that right through to the other road at this stage. So we almost need like another suburb with the town centre along this road. But I'll finish extending out this one that we're working on first. And I somehow managed to destroy the zoning again. I feel like this is way harder than it should be to just simply draw a road. And if we go again with the style, I think I'm going to leave that there and make it connect up to that's 1, 2, 3. And going with the same style, this road will finish up somewhere around here. I almost feel like I should do this tighter, but that can be a lesson learnt for next time. 25 and 24, that's the best I'm going to get. And if we leave enough space for a small building in there, and carry this on, and really sharp corner here, that works and creates a somewhat complicated road layout that just seems a little bit complex for what it is. And then if we come out again here, might go 2 back this time and see how that looks in terms of making the curve. I think this sharper curve is actually more appropriate. You know, it looks a little bit more or less modern, more like it's kind of forced to be there, whereas these are like nice gentle sweeping curves. So I'll go through again and zone this up off camera. And then with that zoned up, we'll move over to expanding out these roads. I want to connect this one up to this main road, and then you'd have this road running all the way through from the sort of town centre of that suburb as one of the main collector roads. We take this road through and connect that up. Then we'd have 3 of these narrow blocks in between. I'll come back and zone this up later. I don't really want to do this right now because I want this to be its own neighborhood and have its own character and everything. And now comes the challenging part of thinking, where is this road heading? Because it's heading into the middle of the river, and I don't want there to be a bridge right here. I want it to sort of curve around and cut back across in this direction. And at some point there would be some suburbs between that road and the riverbank on the side where that power line warning marking is. So if we come through, take this road and take the curve tool Actually, what I could even do is take the road from here to, say, there. I'll have to destroy the highway though in that instance. This should give us the main bend for this road. It seems unnaturally tight, that curve, so I might take that out and come back to about here. It's 46 and 50. Does that look any better? Not really. And then extend one more of these blocks, and then the challenging part comes where there's this change in the curvature. So that's 90 degrees from there. So if we then take this road through, we could even come through and make our block about 300 meters. And then from there, make this so it's squared off. So this is going to get a little bit awkward in the meantime. So then do a little curve here just to tie this in. So 20 meters, 20 and 19, that works. That didn't seem to make the curve properly though. Okay, there we go. We've made this tighter. There's going to be a little awkward gap in between, but this looks chaotically realistic, if that makes any sense. And then if we follow this down, maybe one more in this gridded style, if you will. So that's actually quite away from the city when you compare it to the rest of the city layout at this point. But as we expand, it won't seem so far out. At some point I want it to stop being grid roads as well and start going into that sort of suburban layout. I might do 2 more of these and then call it at that for the suburb. And then this one I might leave this other side for another time. But I'm just looking at our road layouts and thinking maybe this road here can run all the way through. So if I continue with the same style, so the whole thing is about 8 deep. So I want to come through here and then carry this on, then do the same thing on this side and come through. And again, now we're getting into that point where the change in the grid is making a little bit of a mess, but that can be dealt with. So if we take this here, I will take this road to here and then try and make this curve around for the last little section. That looks a little bit messy, but it is what I was kind of intending because I don't want it to be perfectly be a perfect grid system because it's a little bit, too samey, even though it is the most efficient way. It's not always perfectly laid out. So how long is this block, if I may ask? 300 meters, so that's a reasonable size. So if we continue with this road coming through, then we should get able to have these on a weird angle, and then that area I don't think I'm going to worry about for the time being because I'm already expanding out really far and actually need to find something to fill this in with today. I might even change this block up a little bit just because it's so far apart. Then we can do these 90-degree roads, although the zoning's broken on this one, so that's going to be hard to tell what's going on. So if we come through like there might be a little bit of unzonable space, but it's minimal compared to how it could be. I think I'm going to have to give up on trying to get it to zone perfectly because it's just not happening. And I think that gives us a pretty big area. And the one thing I'd want to add out here is a school. We don't really need one here. I kind of want to add one just so that there's something interesting in this part of the city though. So I'm going to, after spending all that time making this block, I'm going to delete it and then use that for the expansion of the elementary school. So if we go here and then select the upgrades, we won't go for extension wing, but we'll go for the kids clinic on this one, which can go out the back there in that space. And we can put the playground and that space there as well. Plus, I don't think we have any police coverage in the city yet, so I might take this opportunity to head out back over to the downtown and place that down somewhere. And just go delete a couple of these commercial and a few residential to try and fit that in. I think it's sorted now, so we've got the police station in, we've got another school here that's not going to get used, and it's probably far enough from that park that we could add another one. If we go for a skate park on this block here, community pool, I think that would be cool to have along the river here on the side of this commercial strip. And then just fill the rest of this space up with some other parks and then transition into residential when it gets a little bit bigger. So add the large playground in next to the pool and then just fill up the rest of this area with a small plaza and a small park. I think I might switch that around if I can. And then maybe just some trees in this area. I do wish that the forest brush was a thing because it's quite hard to place down individual trees. This is a very chaotic way to place trees down as well. And that should do it for that area. So I'll go through and add residential in this area too off camera and then come back. So now gone through and zoned the rest of this area that we built up, and I don't think there's really much more to do in this episode, but I'll just zoom into some of the areas that I have done. It's weird to maneuver the camera around in this cinematic mode when I just want to look around because I'm so used to playing the game and using the normal control where you just kind of zoom into the point you want to go to. So I put in all these houses. So this is actually quite expanded out from the city now. So in the next episodes, I'm going to have to work on expanding sort of in an equal direction out from the main road so that the city's nice and like geographically balanced around where I want the town centre to be. And then one day this will expand out into a city. But for now, we've got a decent sized park down where my cursor is now, and we've got the elementary school where my cursor is pointing at now, and then a little commercial strip town centre type thing along here for the suburb, and then just a random water tower because, well, I needed to put a water tower in for the function of the game, so I did that. And I think we're just going to work perhaps anti-clockwise around these areas for a little while, and then at some point in the future I want to do a suburb along the side of the river with a very square grid pattern. But I'm leaving that for later because when I do it, I want it to take up like a square kilometre or so, which would be quite large in comparison to the existing scale of the city. So that's why I'm leaving that out for the time being. But on that note, this is the end of the episode. So if you've enjoyed this one, make sure to give it a like. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.